Buddhaṃ 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 Vande Dhammaṃ 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 Vande Sanghaṃ 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 Vande Buddhaṃ Dhammaṃ Sanghaṃ Vande. Homage to the Buddha, homage to the Dhamma, the teachings of the Buddha, homage to the Sangha, the noble disciples of the Buddha, homage to the Triple Gem. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Venerable sirs, monastics, friends in the Dhamma, here again we come to the Dhamma. Here in this session, we are going to explain one of the very interesting Buddhist doctrines, which is mindfulness. Mindfulness is specially explained in this program. We should understand the real meaning of mindfulness, what Buddhism explains. Mindfulness is the foundation of all Buddhist doctrines that Buddha has explained for our purification and for the getting rid of suffering. Whenever we listen to this doctrine, mindfulness, we usually think that we should forget our past and future, we should live in the present moment. Mostly people who explain mindfulness, they explain like that. Forget your past, forget your future, live in the present moment. Is this Buddhism? No, this is not Buddhism. Buddhism never says us to forget anything. Forgetting is a very big mistake. Whenever we cultivate, develop mindfulness, actually our memory gradually increases. We can remember all the things what happened in our life from our mother's womb to this moment. Not only that, when we cultivate our mindfulness in the highest level, we can explain what happened, even what happened when we were mother's womb too. Not only that, he who has very special psychic energies, they can explain 500 eons in his previous lives. Memory is not the fault. What is the fault? Fault is that whenever we remember something which happened in the past, if our mind depends on the previous experience in the past, that is the fault. That is the cause of suffering. Based on mindfulness in the present moment, we can remember anything which happened in the past and also which will be happening in the future. It doesn't matter. But we know very well, now I live in the present moment. That is very important. At the beginning of this session, we should understand the result of mindfulness, what the Buddha explained. Dhamma explains, for the purification of beings, for the destructions of suffering and sorrow, for the getting rid of grief and other sufferings, for the attaining of wisdom, for the gaining enlightenment. The only path, what the Buddha explained, which is mindfulness. Therefore, we should understand very clearly what Buddhism means in mindfulness. Especially here, we explain 3 categories of mindfulness. Dhamma explains, the Buddha says, Satipatthanaṁ 𝒂𝐵hikkave desissāmi, Satipatthana bhāvanaṁ Satipatthana bhāvanagāmini patipadancha. I explained mindfulness, mindfulness meditation, and the path or way of mindfulness meditation. These 3 things are very important. Mindfulness, mindfulness meditation, and the path that leads to mindfulness meditation. Again and again, we should understand these 3 things, and also we should reflect on these 3 things, and also whenever we practice this doctrine, which is mindfulness, we should understand, now where am I in? What I practice, whether mindfulness, mindfulness meditation, or the path that leads to mindfulness meditation. In short, mindfulness means being aware of our body, sensation, mind, and mental formations in the present moment. That is based on the conventional truth. We keep our attention in the present moment. We look at the formal world, physical body, our breathing, 4 postures, our body parts. We reflect on these material worlds. At the same time, after we contemplate on our physical body, we compare it to other external world too. In Kayanupassana, or the contemplation of body. Next, we contemplate on sensations, physical and mental sensations, positive, negative, both of them, and neutral. After that, we reflect on our consciousness. What happens to my mind at this moment? Whether my mind is angry or not angry, whether my mind is happy or unhappy, whether my mind is concentrated or not, whether my mind is lustful or not, whether my mind is ignorant or not, whether my mind is liberated from suffering or not. We contemplate on our feelings, happy and unhappy feelings. We contemplate on our consciousness, mind. And also, finally, we contemplate on the mental formations, positive and negative mental formations we reflect on in the present moment. That is mindfulness based on the conventional truth. When we look at our body, if we think our body consists with 4 fundamental elements, solidity, fluidity, heat, and motion, it depends on the conventional truth in the mundane level. When we think of our feelings or sensations, that depends on the conventional truth in the present moment. When we reflect on our mind, positive or negative, that is also depends on the present moment in the conventional truth. And also when we contemplate on positive and negative mental formations, that also belongs to the conventional truth. This is the mindfulness. Next, mindfulness meditation. What is that? Firstly, we keep our attention in our physical body. Next, we reflect on arising and ceasing of body, our sensations, consciousness, and mental formations. Samudaya Dhammanupassī vihirati, Vaya Dhammanupassī vihirati, Samudaya Vaya Dhammanupassī vihirati. We contemplate on arising, ceasing, arising and ceasing. We reflect on impermanence. How my body arises and ceases, how my feelings or sensations arise senses, how my consciousness arises senses, how my mental formations arise senses, arise in, cease in, arise in, cease in. Firstly, we contemplate on them as a part, as a body, as feelings, as consciousness, as mental formations. Finally, we took everything together as the five aggregates. Every moment, five aggregates arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. This is the mindfulness meditation based on the ultimate truth in the supramundane level. This is insight meditation. The third one, the path that leads to mindfulness meditation. Satipatthana Bhavana Gamini Patipada. It means we understand the Noble Eightfold Path based on mindfulness, based on right understanding. There we understand mindfulness as a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. There we have the correct vision, right vision, based on the divine origination, Four Noble Truths, and the five aggregates. That is the path, the Noble Eightfold Path. Now you should have some kind of understanding about these three categories of mindfulness. But they are mindfulness, mindfulness meditation, the path or way of mindfulness meditation. Whenever you practice something in Buddhism, you should know in which category where I am now. When you look at something, if you are aware of that thing based on mindfulness, that is mindfulness. When you look at something, if you reflect on arising and ceasing of body, not only the outside body, when you look at something, if you can contemplate on that, when I see this form, my inside, my I form, I consciousness arising, ceasing, then automatically I release from the outside material world of persons. Here, be mindful, be aware. I explained a very special thing at the very beginning. Uppada Nirodha and Anupada Nirodha. The cessation of what is arisen and the cessation of what is not arisen. Whenever you look at something, and also if you think that this body arising and ceasing, this person is going to old age, sickness, this person is going to death, that belongs to the conventional truth, even though you reflect on changing. You reflect on changing, but you don't reflect on impermanence. The changing and impermanence are different. The changing can be understood by anyone, even a scientist. Dividing atoms, they understand that atom consists with electron, proton, neutron, and other elements. They always arise and cease. They understand the changing, but not impermanence. That is very important. If we find something in the outside world, after that if we think it is changing, that is just changing, that can be realized by anyone. We don't need a Dhamma, we don't need a Buddha to understand this thing. When you go to a lab, when you change, when you divide atoms, you can understand it. It is not difficult to understand. But impermanence in Buddhism is different. It means whenever we see something, already the causes has ceased. Now I reflect on my mind, I am reading my mind. At that moment, the physical world has completely ceased. If a person can see this reality, he reflects on impermanence, anicca, what Buddha explained. As soon as we see this reality, we release from the world. But if we reflect on the changing of the physical body outside, we can release from the world. Still we think there is something outside. If we want to release something in the outside world, we should reflect on the impermanence or arising and ceasing of these causes. The causes has already ceased. Here, in mindfulness meditation, we reflect on this reality that belongs to Anutpada Nirodha, the cessation, what is not arisen. That is mindfulness meditation. And also, we should practice this mindfulness as a part of the Noble Eightfold Path. First of all, we should understand this reality that belongs to Sammaditthi, right vision or right view. Having this right vision, we have right intention, releasing or getting away from sensual pleasure, practicing loving kindness. This is right intention. Then right speech. We always use right speech. When we speak something, when we do something, we think again and again whether it is correct. We speak and work, behave mindfully and slowly. And also right action. We do actions mindfully. Right livelihood. When we earn money, when we do jobs, we earn every sense righteously and honestly. Since we have a spiritual journey, we are very careful when we do some activities in our life. For an example, when you go to in a flight, you have discipline. You don't shout there. You don't fight with other people. You have only very few seats. You never do strike or struggle. You sit in that seat very carefully, calmly. You have good discipline there when you are in a flight, in a plane. Why do you have that discipline? You have a goal. You have to go to another country, another place. You have to go to your home. You have to go to visit your parents. You have paid a lot of money for the plane, for the flight, for the air ticket. You have a goal. You don't fight with others. You don't reject the food that they give. You calmly, slowly, you are sitting there. Even you look at this side, you look at front. You have good discipline there. Why is that? You have a purpose, you have a goal. Therefore, automatically you have a discipline there. We also like that. Whenever we see our spiritual goal, automatically we come to discipline. We don't disturb our spiritual journey. Since we are dreaming, we are imagining our final goal. What is our final goal? Our final goal is liberation. liberation from suffering, liberation from the material world. Whenever our mind depends on the material world or persons, it means we are not away from suffering of aging, sickness, death, sorrow, lamentation. All the sufferings are here whenever our mind depends on the material world or persons. By listening to Dhamma, having right understanding, now we have this correct vision. Having this vision in front, we practice right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and finally, right concentration. We do all the activities having this understanding. Here we find our spiritual path, spiritual map, spiritual carpet where we are going on. What is that? What is our spiritual map? Spiritual vehicle, spiritual carpet, red carpet. What is that? The Noble Eightfold Path. This is the fearless path. This is the direct path. Dhamma explains, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. This is the direct path for the liberation. This is the fearless path. If you practice this path, you have never fear or suffering. Whenever we go away from this path, we have to face a lot of problems. When you use your speech and behavior incorrectly, in the wrong way, we have to face a lot of problems. Finally, we have to go to jail or court. If we practice the Noble Eightfold Path, we don't need to go to jail or court. Since we are away from all the bad, wrong actions, we have a safety, we have a refuge, we have a protection. That is why Dhamma explains, he who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. Dhammo 𝐓𝐢𝐩𝐢𝐻 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓾. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. He who practices Dhamma is protected by the Dhamma. We don't need to protect Dhamma. We have to practice Dhamma. When we practice Dhamma, we are protected by the Dhamma. Dhamma protects us. We don't need to protect Dhamma, we have to practice Dhamma. It means when we live, we should live according to the Dhamma, according to the Noble Eightfold Path. As soon as we come to the path, the Noble Eightfold Path, we start our life which consists with happiness. We are experiencing happiness in the present moment. Since especially when we practice right concentration and right mindfulness, we gradually increase joy and happiness or contentment. That happiness is in the present moment. We don't need to postpone our happiness for tomorrow. In your regular works, when you study, when you do a job, when you feed your children, always you think that your happiness will be in the future. That is why always you wish a better tomorrow. that tomorrow never comes until you die. That tomorrow never comes until you die. But what is the nature of the Dhamma? When we come to practice Dhamma, we practice mindfulness, we live in the present moment. Firstly, we are aware of our physical body. That belongs to 𝒂𝐾 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the contemplation of our body. Keeping our attention in the present moment, we are aware of our breathing in and out. Breathing in, breathing out. Breathing in long, breathing in short. Breathing in with the awareness of entire breathing body and out, and calming the entire breathing body, breathe in and out. We are aware of our breathing in and out. That breathing meditation belongs to 𝒂𝐾, the physical world. Even though we don't see the air, that belongs to the material world, since it depends on our physical body. Then we go to the Iriyapata, our four postures. When we sit, we are aware of that. Now I am sitting here. When we stand in, we know that I am standing now. When we walk in, we are aware of that. Now I am walking. When I am lying down, I know that I am lying down. Whenever we think which happened in the past, we understand that now I am reading my mind. That also has finished. We keep it away. But if you want, we can remember it. Remembering something, you can call someone. It is okay, no problem. When you do your daily activities, you can do it. But you do everything mindfully. And also you can plan something for future. You can arrange something for future. You can get ready for your exam, which will be happening in next month. That doesn't matter. But we are aware of our body. And also again, we contemplate on the fundamental things that consist with our physical body. Earth element, water element, fire element, and wind element, air element. My physical body consists with these four fundamental elements: solidity, fluidity, heat and motion. That is also a place where we practice mindfulness. Next, we contemplate on our body parts. I have hair, skin here, skin, nail, so on. We contemplate on our body part and the impurities of body parts. That also belong to the 𝒂𝐾 or the contemplation of our body. And next we are going to the contemplation of our entire activities from morning to evening. When we eat, we know that now I am eating, mindful eating. When we drink something, we are aware of that now I am drinking something. When we are sitting, when we are speaking with someone, when we go to restroom, bathroom, we know very well what I do at this moment. We do all the activities mindfully, and enjoy in our life. Then we enjoy every moment. And also we can enjoy the environment at that moment. We can see the sounds of the birds who are around us. So on. Gradually we go forward. Next, we contemplate on our physical body. What happens to our physical body after we pass away? After we die, what happens to our physical body? Gradually, it goes into worst, and finally it comes to the skeleton. Very finally, it becomes the dust. We contemplate on these steps of our physical body after we die. That is also belongs to the 𝒮𝓾 or the contemplation of our body. Firstly, we contemplate on our own body. Next, we compare it to other bodies and other physical world, material world. When we look at something, we can see it as the four fundamental elements. When we see a physical body who is living, we can contemplate on all these parts. But if we see some material things, we can think according to the fundamental elements. This is the way how we practice mindfulness in body, mindfulness in the physical world. That belongs to the conventional truth. There we can see some changes, but we know that change is not the final truth. That change is based on ignorance. Already we have taken something as it is. There is a clock here. That clock can be changed. Firstly, we have taken it based on ignorance. Next, we contemplate on that it is changing. It is also helpful for us in order to overcome our attachment, but it is not the final solution. What is the final solution? As soon as we experience the world, we understand now the physical world has completely ceased. I am reading my own mind at this moment. Even though I look at you, even though I think that I am preaching Dhamma for you, that is true in the conventional truth. When we go to the ultimate truth, actually, I am talking to myself. I am talking to my mind, my consciousness, my mental formations. I am dealing with me. The physical world has completely ceased when I understand you. It doesn't mean that there is no physical world. Actually, there is a physical world that consists with the four fundamental elements. That experience in even when we contact something. When we contact our eye, we can see the food which is in the plate. But when we enjoy the food is inside, food is in our mouth. But because of our ignorance, we think that still the food is in the plate when I enjoy food. That is the ignorance. Always think this example. Whenever you see something, you hear something, you smell something, you can contact it, but when you understand it, you can never understand something through your eye consciousness or ear consciousness. Dhamma explains very clearly, na panchehi viññānehi kiñci dhammam paṭivijānāti aññatra abhinipātamattā. We are unable to recognize anything by 5 consciousnesses, just contact. We are unable to completely understand something through our eye consciousness, through our nose consciousness, through our ear consciousness, through our body consciousness, so on. Sabbe Dhamma Mano Viññāna Dhātuya Viññaya. Everything should be understood by mind consciousness. Firstly, we practice the contemplation of body, keeping our attention in the present moment. That belongs to mindfulness. Then we practice mindfulness meditation. What is that? Arising and ceasing of the physical body. Samudaya Dhammanupassī Vihārati, we contemplate on arising. Vaya Dhammanupassī Vihārati, we contemplate on the cessation of body. Samudaya Vaya Dhammanupassī Vihārati, we contemplate on arising and ceasing of the physical body. And also, we understand that now I am on the path which is the Noble Eightfold Path. When I reflect on this reality, I have right understanding, right intention, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness. And also when mind gains concentration, we know I have now right concentration too. Whenever we practice this mindfulness according to Dhamma, according to Dhamma, according to Dhamma, what the Buddha taught, not what we want. Whenever we practice mindfulness according to Dhamma, we are full with spiritual faculties. At that moment, we live with all the spiritual faculties. Spiritual faculties, enlightenment factors, Eightfold Path, all the faculties come together. It means we are filled with happiness, spiritual happiness. That happiness is in this very present moment. Even though we will attain enlightenment for a long time, after a long time, end of this life or after 100 eons after, it doesn't matter. But we live like now I attain enlightenment in this moment, whenever we reflect on this practice. We are not hurried to come to the end of the enlightenment. If you are hurried to attain Sotapanna Sakadagami enlightenment, why is that? We haven't come to the Dhamma truly. If you keep the address in your navigator and also if you drive correctly, do you need to be hurried? No. You drive in the correct speed and also you can enjoy the environment. Gradually you go there. Now we have kept the address in our navigator, GPS. And also we gradually practice. We are driving. What is driving? We are practicing mindfulness. Then enjoying our life, helping others, paying our attention others, practicing the for sublime states, doing our jobs. If you want to go to a school or university, you can study another degree or diploma too, while you are practicing Dhamma. If you want to bring your children to the school, you can bring them to the school. Doing all the activities in our regular life, we gradually go forward. No matter whatever you do all the things based on the Noble Eightfold Path. Here we practice 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, the contemplation of body. We will answer later, sorry. First I explain. Next, we explain Vedanupassi Viharati. Vedanasu Vedanupassi Viharati, the contemplation of sensations. If we have painful or happy feelings, we immediately understand. Through our eye consciousness, through our ear consciousness, through 6 consciousnesses, we come to some feelings or sensations. Negative, positive or neutral. When you have physical pain, you understand, now I have physical pain. When you receive a very unpleasant sound, you can understand it. That person is blaming me. You keep your attention there. When you listen to a sound of a bird, you understand it. When you eat a very delicious food, you can enjoy the food. When you drink something, you can enjoy it. When you sit in a very comfortable seat or mattress, you can have some very happy feelings. We keep it there. And also, when we understand neutral feelings, that is also can be understood. Keeping our attention in the present moment, we are aware of our feelings or sensations, as they are pleasant or unpleasant or neutral. That is mindfulness. When someone blames you, sometimes you are uncomfortable, you understand it. That is mindfulness. What is mindfulness meditation? In sensations. When you have negative feelings through your eye consciousness, ear consciousness, immediately you understand the physical world, sounds, forms have already completely ceased. I recognize these things through my mind consciousness. When I recognize something through my mind consciousness, my ear, sound, eye consciousness, eye feeling, eye sensation, eye volition, everything has ceased. I understand this sound through my mind consciousness. That mind consciousness also arises and ceases at the moment. What is that? That is mindfulness meditation. Then we release from the world. When we reflect on this reality, we can see all the parts of the Noble Eightfold Path in one line. Samma Ditti, Samma Sankappa, Samma Vāca. All the way, these 8 parts around us, like a circle. This is your protection, refuge, insurance, assurance. This is the real insurance. This is more important other than your life insurance, your health insurance. Even though you have health insurance or life insurance, they can't release you from suffering. That is why Buddha says, dwell with yourself as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. Live with the Dhamma as an island, as a refuge, with no other refuge. How we make ourselves and Dhamma as a refuge? Practicing mindfulness is the way how we make a refuge for our protection from suffering. It doesn't mean that we are very lazy or inactive. Actually, we are so active. We are so busy with this practice. We are busy with spiritual faculties, not the physical world. Always we are dealing with the spiritual faculties. That is why we are busy. Even though you are very silent, even though you maintain noble silence, outside world people think that you are very lazy, you are sitting here nearby, you are closing your eyes, but you are inside, you have a lot of works here. This is the way how we practice the contemplation of sensation, Vedanupassana. Then we come to a very interesting place, which is 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the contemplation of mind or consciousness. This is the place where you can see the mirror. You go to washroom, now you see the very most beautiful person in the world. When you go to the mirror, you see the most beautiful person in this world. Now you read your mind. How do we read mind? When mind is lustful, we immediately understand, now my mind has lust. When mind has no lust, we understand, now my mind is not lustful. When mind is angry, we immediately understand, now my mind has anger. When mind is not angry, we understand, now my mind is released from anger. When mind is ignorant, we understand my mind has ignorance. When mind is not ignorant, we understand my mind is without ignorance. When mind is concentrated, we understand my mind is concentrated. If mind is not concentrated, we understand now my mind has no concentration. Finally, we understand whether my mind is liberated or not. How do we understand? Actually, easily we can understand whether mind is greedy or lustful, we understand. When my mind is angry or not angry, easily we can understand. But how do we understand whether my mind is ignorant or not? Whenever you look at something, if you think there is someone or something outside, something happened, something has happened, a very, very big mistake. It means we depend on the material world. If we think at this moment there is something outside world, it means we are ignorant. If we see something, if we hear something, immediately we can understand the material world has completely ceased. I understand something through my mind consciousness. Then, even though we close our eyes, we understand the world. We understand very clearly. We experience everything through our mind consciousness. It doesn't mean that there is no world. Actually, there is a world. If we want to look at again, we can look at it. Firstly, when we looked at you, you are normal. I understood it. When I again open my eyes, you are laughing. You are laughing with me or you are laughing at me. Now I understand it. Then that is a new experience. That also I understand through my mind consciousness. Eye contact is very fast. It goes fast. Whenever we are not ignorant, it means vimuttang vachittang vimuttang chittanti prajanati. We think that we understand that mind is liberated from the world. If mind is liberated from the world, it means we are liberated from suffering. With this understanding, finally we come to our safety place. What is that? Equanimity. No talk, no laugh. We live equanimously. But we can respond to others. We can be friendly with others, no problem. But we live equanimously. Even though we laugh with someone, mentally we are in the equanimity. Even though sometimes we advise our friends or children, mentally we are in equanimity. We show others that we are sensitive with them. We are respond them. We deal with them. But we have made a refuge within us. By practicing mindfulness, by practicing the contemplation of consciousness and mind, understanding our mind, releasing from ignorance, reaching liberation, gradually we have come to the equanimity. Every moment we are aware of our body and mind in the present moment. We check that whether I am in mindfulness or mindfulness meditation. That is very important. Be sure that, please double check whether I am mindfulness or mindfulness meditation. When we keep our attention in the material world or persons, it means we are mindfulness. We are mindful, we are in mindfulness. If we reflect on impermanence, if we see the world as ceased, it means we are in mindfulness meditation. That is the difference between mindfulness and mindfulness meditation. That is very, very important. Always check that whether I am in mindfulness or mindfulness meditation. And also we should check whether I am with the Noble Eightfold Path. Always we should confirm it. That is the real confirmation. When you do something in online, always you can see confirm. But what is the real confirmation? We should check whether I am in the Noble Eightfold Path. Please confirm it. Please check it whether I am on the real path. If we are in the real path, no matter whatever you do, we don't have to worry. Since every moment we are reaching our destination, since we have kept correctly our address in our navigator. No matter you go fast or slowly, it doesn't matter. Gradually we are reaching the destination. Not only that, we are enjoying our life. Look at the around the place. Helping others, doing our jobs, doing our more studies, fulfilling your duties and responsibilities. Gradually we go forward on our spiritual path. Then our life with contentment, 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. Happiness or the contentment is the greatest treasure. Happiness or contentment is the greatest treasure. 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶. Arogya parama labha. Health is the greatest gaining. Trustworthiness is the best kinship. Vissasa paramāñāti. Firstly, we were finding best friends from the outside world. Now finally we understood that no best friend in the outside world. Real best friend is inside. What is that? Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the real best friend. Trustworthiness is the best kinship. What is that trustworthiness? Mindfulness. We trust in mindfulness. Dhamma explains that whenever we are mindful, we are near the Buddha. We are in the shadow of the Buddha. We have real protection. Even the Buddha has passed away, still Buddha is alive whenever we practice mindfulness. Whenever we are away from mindfulness, where are we in? We are near the devil, Mara, evil. That is why mindfulness is explained as the refuge, as the protection, as the insurance, as the assurance. Through the contemplation of consciousness of mind, finally we come to the contemplation of mental formations. Dhammesu dhammanupassī vihārati. We contemplate on positive and negative mental formations. Firstly, we realize that when I have hindrances, pancha nivarana, 5 hindrances, sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, restlessness and worry, skeptical doubts. When mind has these negative thoughts, we immediately understand at this moment I have lust, I have ill will, I have sloth, I have restlessness, I have skeptical doubts. We immediately understand these negative thoughts when they come to our mind. When they are not in our minds, we understand now I have no these thoughts at this moment. Always we confirm that whether my mind is okay. And also we understand 5 aggregates. Every moment, whatever I experience, It means 5 aggregates arise at the moment. They arise in, cease in. They are arise in, cease in. When I look at a flower, at the moment 5 aggregates arise. My eye, form, this is form. Eye consciousness is the consciousness. Eye feeling is the sensation. Eye perception, eye mental formations. These 5 things immediately arise, they immediately cease. When I understand this flower, I understand this as a flower through my mind consciousness. That mind consciousness also impermanent. It arises, ceases at the moment. Whenever I find something in the outside world as materials, it means I have not just 5 aggregates, I have the clinging to the 5 aggregates, 𝒗𝐻 I have clinging here. The reason is that even though the first experience has already completely ceased, still I am living in the past experience. A person can you blame once if you are ignorant? You blamed again and again by yourself. A person can blame you once if you are ignorant. If you live in the past experience, again and again you are blamed by yourself. That depends on our misunderstanding. That is why there were some stories. When some Arahants were going on the street, some persons hit the Arahants. But the Arahants even doesn't look at them. They directly go. Then they were so upset. Why he didn't look at me? Even the Arahant doesn't look at him. Why is that? As soon as he feels this experience, he knows very well. He understands this pain through his mind consciousness, not through the body consciousness. Then he don't find a person. How do he find a person? According to conventional truth, we can complain somewhere, we can advise him, we can do it. It is okay. That belongs to the conventional truth. But we are talking about the ultimate truth that directly helps us to overcome suffering completely. That is the highest understanding. That is the sublime message based on ultimate truth. When you look at somewhere in the dark, having a flashlight, if you go fast somewhere in the dark at night, having a flashlight in your hand, you see a snake, very poisonous snake. As soon as you look at the snake, what happens to you? You are afraid of that. What is the reason? What is the reason? We think that now I am in the flashlight. I am on that place. That is why we are afraid of. If that snake is very far, are you afraid of that? No. You are not afraid of that. You are afraid of in this incident because you think that I am in the light. That is why we suddenly get upset. But what happens to Arahant? Even though the snake comes to his body, is he afraid of it? Is he afraid of it? No. What is the reason? He knows that he experienced that feeling through his mind consciousness. His wisdom is so fast. As soon as he feels this snake, he understands very well. This experience comes to him through your mind consciousness. He can look at the snake very slowly. He can keep it away slowly. But he is not afraid of that. But we are afraid of looking at the snake in front of us. How about it comes to our body? We shout and we go far away, we run away. This is the result of practice. How beautiful is. Here we are discussing about the Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of mind consciousnesses, mental formations. When we have hindrances, we understand it. When we haven't hindrances, never we understand it too. And also we understand 5 aggregates. We have 5 aggregates in the vipaka level, in the result level. But when we understand, when we experience it, we experience the world through 4 aggregates. Vedana, sensation, sanya, perception, sankhara, volition, and vijnana, consciousness. Whenever we experience or understand something, our life with these 4 things. But we usually think that I have 5 aggregates, 5 things. We have 5 things in the vipaka level. In the first experience, we have rupa or form. But whenever we are happy or unhappy, it means we have taken the rupa or form in this moment with ignorance. But the very first experience is neither pleasant nor unpleasant, neither wholesome nor unwholesome. That is neutral. The very first experience, when we contact something, the eye consciousness, ear consciousness, nose consciousness, these are neutral. These are neither pleasant nor unpleasant. These are neither wholesome nor unwholesome. Pleasant or unpleasant depends on according to our perception. When someone comes here, if it is your enemy, you are happy, you are unhappy, you get upset. If that same person is my best friend, what happens to me? I am happy. A person is coming here, that person is your enemy, your worst enemy, who had disturbed you for a long time. As soon as he comes here, you get upset, you are angry, you are unhappy. But that person is my best friend and he is my brother as well. What happens to me? I am okay. I am happy or neutral. If that suffering comes to you according to the form, the experience should be same to both of us. But that form, that person didn't bring you suffering or happiness. Here we see only four fundamental elements. Suffering or happiness arises according to our perception. If we can change our perception without changing anything in the external world, just changing perception, we can live according to what we like. That is the Dhamma. Dhamma doesn't go to correct outside world. There is no beauty or ugly in the outside world. Beauty or ugly or impurity depends on our perception. When a boy or girl is very dirty, sometimes you get upset, you are unhappy. But if that boy's mother is here, is she unhappy? No, she is so kind. Sometimes she is happy. Wow, my boy has played very well. Good, my boy. This is the way how we correct our perception. When we change our perception, we can associate the world as we like. But always we are mindful. We always take care of our mind. Since we practice 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the contemplation of consciousness of mind. When mind is lustful, we immediately understand my mind has lust. When mind is angry, we understand now my mind has anger. We always protect our mind. Our mind is the most valuable thing I have. We protect it as a lotus flower, as your only son or daughter. We protect our mind. Please don't disturb your mind. Please take care of your mind. The way how we take care of our mind is that, what is? Practice in mindfulness. Practice in mindfulness is the way how we protect our own mind. If we can't protect our mind, even though we have protected everything around us, everything is useless, since we are not happy. We are suffering. We always try to protect the physical or material things in the outside world. Our house has a fence, gate, lock, everything we have. But we need a lock for our mind. What is the lock? Which is mindfulness based on the Noble Eightfold Path. When we practice Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of mental formations, we understand 5 aggregates, we understand 5 hindrances, and also next we come to our very beautiful experience that when we have spiritual faculties, the 7 enlightenment factors, we understand. What are the 7 enlightenment factors? Mindfulness, investigation, energy, rapture, tranquility, samadhi or concentration, and finally equanimity. Sati Sambojjhanga, Dhamma Vicaya Sambojjhanga, Viriya, Piti, Passaddhi, Samadhi, Upekkha. These are the fruits of our spiritual development. These are the real fruits, real flowers, beautiful, good smell flowers that we receive through our practice. Sati Sambojjhanga, the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. Firstly, we practice mindfulness as a primary level quality. Now it has come to the highest level, the spiritual, the enlightenment factor of mindfulness. And the enlightenment factor of keen investigation, that we always with the Dhamma. Always our mind filled with Four Noble Truths, the Noble Eightfold Path, Four Noble Truths, Divine Origination. These things, always we contemplate on them. These are our real friends. When we come to this level, we don't need to find physical friends. It doesn't mean that we reject our friends. Actually, we can associate them. But we understood these qualities, the Dhamma is my best friend. Since others can't help us, even our parents are unable to give us the real refuge. Since while we are living, our parents will pass away. Sometimes already your parents have passed away. If you think that my parents are the real protection, actually while we are living, they are leaving. How do we think that they are our real protection? Sometimes you may think that my husband, my wife is the real protection. While you are healthy, your husband or wife has to go to hospital. While you are living, your wife or husband may die. How do we take them as our refuge? Sometimes you may think that your children are the real protection. But sometimes, unfortunately, while you are living, they may live their lives. Even though they don't die, they may go away from you. When you die, you alone. If you are with the Dhamma, you are no more alone. You have made a refuge within you. In this level, we are dealing with our spiritual faculties. The enlightenment factor of mindfulness, the enlightenment factor of keen investigation, the enlightenment factor of energy, the enlightenment factor of rapture, tranquility, samadhi or concentration, and finally the enlightenment factor of equanimity. When we come to this level, we are with these 7 things. When we have these spiritual faculties, enlightenment factors, we understand now I have made these spiritual faculties enlightenment factors in my life. And also, when we come to this practice, the Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of our mind consciousness, mental formations, we understand our 6 internal senses and 6 external objects. Every moment these senses, faculties or spheres arise and cease. We understand it. Finally, we understand the Four Noble Truths. This is the very, very important place. We start our spiritual journey with the understanding of the Four Noble Truths. Firstly, we start our spiritual journey keeping our address in the navigator. House number, street, city, code number, country, we put it in our navigator before we start our tour, our journey. That is 𝒮𝓃 ℒ𝒶𝓃, the wisdom of hearing. Now here, by practicing Dhamma with the wisdom of meditation, we have come to the destination. We come to the city, we entered the street, go front, go forward. Wow, now we see 552 house number. Now we come to the destination. In Dhammanupassana, here we contemplate on the Four Noble Truths, our address. Now we confirm our destination. We started our spiritual journey with the address. What is the address? Four Noble Truths. The Noble Truth of Suffering, the Noble Truth of the origin of suffering, the Noble Truth of the cessation of suffering, the Noble Truth of the path that leads to getting rid of suffering. This is address. Through this address, we gradually come to the destination. After we come to the destination, now we can confirm that whether my address is okay. We start the same address, we end our journey with the same address. In the start point, we have confidence, saddha. Saddha, mūlika sabbhe කුසල Dhamma. Confidence is the foundation of all spiritual faculties, wholesome deeds. Through confidence, we reach the destination. When we come to the address, we confirm the address. Now I understood dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering. I overcome the origin of suffering. I come to the cessation of suffering. I fulfilled the path that leads to getting rid of suffering. Then no more confidence. No more confidence. Why is that? When you come to the address, when you reach the destination, you don't need to trust in your address or your friend's words. Now that is your own experience. Then you don't look at the address in the navigator. You keep away your navigator. You enter the house. The people who are in the house, they welcome you. This is the gradual path. Not only gradual path, but it is a very practicable path that everyone can understand, everyone can go forward, and everyone can get experience, can get results, benefits. Then finally, as a result of arriving in the destination, always we look at the world. What is the real address? always we understand five aggregates, arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. Finally we come to equanimity, 𝒶𝓃𝓾, we live equanimously. How do we see it? Always we understand five aggregates has already ceased. Five aggregates have already ceased. I understand the world through four aggregates. That four aggregates are also impermanent. They arise and cease at the moment. Arising, ceasing, arising, ceasing. Then we live equanimously. Have any question? Now you can ask.
Sorry. There are so many different techniques for practicing, so many meditation techniques, and sometimes I don't know which one's the right to choose, or I feel resistance or a voice or an opinion inside of me that says this is boring, you should do something else. Is that a sign of, should I go on then or choose something else because something else would be more fruitful? I don't know.
The most important thing is understanding the path. Okay? If you know how to go to Berlin correctly, clearly, it doesn't matter you go or not. It doesn't matter you go on in a train or bus or bicycle or on foot. It doesn't matter whether you are late. It doesn't matter whether you are sleeping here. One day after you wake up, you go there. The very first thing is, we should understand clearly the path. If you know the path, you can practice mindfulness. If you like loving kindness meditation, you can practice loving kindness meditation and keeping your attention in the present moment, reflect on impermanence. If you want to practice for fundamental elements, Dhatu Manasikara, you can reflect on your Dhatu Manasikara. When mind gains concentration, you can reflect on impermanence. If you like walking meditation, you can practice it. While you are walking, you gain concentration, then mind is very pure and calm. You think that I is impermanent, form is impermanent, I consciousness is impermanent, so on. If you like breathing meditation, you can practice breathing meditation. There are 40 meditation techniques. Don't worry. If you don't like Metta Bhavana, you can practice Karuna Bhavana. If you don't like both of them, you can practice Anapanasati Bhavana, mindful breathing. If you don't like them, you can practice Silanasati Bhavana, the contemplation of virtue. There are a lot of variations. According to your interest, you can choose a meditation object. But very important thing, even though your vehicle is very comfortable or very fast, if your destination is incorrect, wrong, you can go to the destination. Therefore, understanding the address or the destination is very important. If you know the correct address, no matter whether you go or not, if your address is wrong, even though you go fast, your effort is useless. Your energy is useless. That is why always Buddhism encourages us to get the real understanding. Dhamma explains, I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. Without knowing, without seeing, we can't go to the destination. We can't overcome suffering. Dhamma explains very clearly. Buddha says, I proclaim the liberation for those who know the path, who see the path. For that, through associating with good friends, we have to listen in this message again and again. Finally, we have to release from the material world. At the same time, we release from even our mental formations too. We can reflect on impermanence of the material world. Not only that, we immediately should look at inside the mind and mind consciousness. What I contemplate on this reality at this moment, that mind consciousness also impermanent. It arises and ceases at the moment. Wherever materiality or corporeality and mentality immediately cease, that is the liberation. That is the end of suffering. If we find anything in the external world or even inside, it means we are still in ignorance. We are still in the samsaric journey. At the same time, we have to reflect on all the things as impermanent, as arising and ceasing. Knowing the path is very important. Vision and mission both are very important. Vision without mission is useless. Mission without vision is blind. Vision without mission is useless. Mission without vision is blind. First, we should understand, start our spiritual journey with correct vision, samadhi. How suffering arises, how suffering ceases. This is the vision. Then we find a path, mindfulness, based on the Noble Eightfold Path. Whenever we mindfulness, we should confirm that whether my other parts of the path are with me. Any other question?
Yes, Bhante. Why is there no rush to reach Sotapan or another attainment? Because it's my understanding that if you pass away as a worldling, you might get a good rebirth, but you might forget about your Dhamma knowledge and you might fall into the lower world. So why is there no rush?
It depends on our effort. Even though we have understanding, our courage also very important. That is why Buddha always encouraged his disciples in order to go forward. Appamada. Appamada, don't be delay. Buddha always explained to his disciples, go forward very fast. That is very important. But however, we can see when we refer the Dhamma, it is very clear that when we come to the correct vision, actually we come to the path. There is a very special discourse named Gavampati Sutta, the discourse of Gavampati. That discourse explains that about the Four Noble Truths. If a person knows the first noble truth, he knows the other noble truths too. He who knows the dukkha satya, the noble truth of suffering, at the same level he understands the origin of suffering and the cessation of suffering, and also he has gone the path of liberation. He who understands the origin of suffering, he understands the suffering and the cessation of suffering, and also he is on the path of liberation. If a person understands the next one, the cessation of suffering, he understands other three things. If a person goes forward on the path, it means he has good idea about other three things too. These four things are interrelated. If we have correct understanding, it means we come to the path. Since we know if we don't have this understanding, we have to suffer in this world. That is why we immediately come to the path. When we come to the path, we enjoy the path, then we gradually go forward. Even though we don't accept, we don't wish our 𝒂𝓃𝓾 or 𝒶𝓃𝓾, we are reaching that place. Otherwise, even though we can't come to the 𝒂𝓃𝓾 in this life, because of this practice, after we passed away, we will receive a blissful life. And also, we will receive a place where we can practice Dhamma. We have safety. Even though we don't attain 𝒂𝓃𝓾, the stream entry, if we are on this path, we can be sure that we have a blissful life hereafter. We don't want to worry. But however, we gradually go forward. That is why again and again, Buddhism explains the 5 qualities again and again we should fulfill. What they are? Sutta, listening to Dhamma, discussing Dhamma, practicing virtue, practicing concentration, practicing insight meditation. Again and again, we should fulfill these 5 things. Not only Sila Samadhi Panya, but even Sutta and Sakaccha. Listening to Dhamma and Dhamma discussion. These things are also very important. While we are practicing virtue, samadhi, concentration and wisdom, we have to listen to Dhamma again and again. We have to discuss the Dhamma with our Dhamma friends again and again. While we are listening to Dhamma and while we are discussing Dhamma, we are in practice. Listening to Dhamma and discussing Dhamma are not away from practice. This also belongs to practice. While you are listening to Dhamma, if you have good attention and also if you are listening to the correct Dhamma, correct message, no matter you are opening your eyes, but you are practicing Dhamma. You are reaching your spiritual steps. Sometimes we can't attain 𝒂𝓃𝓾 or 𝒶𝓃𝓾 in this level, but we don't need to worry. However, we are always practicing mindfulness. If we are in practice, which is mindfulness, it means we gradually go forward. But the more we practice Dhamma, the more we purify our mind, the more we purify our mind, the more we are happy. The more we are happy, the more we have inner courage, inner motivation, the more we go forward. Practicing Dhamma, purifying minds, happiness, and inner motivation. These things work as a circle. It means we gradually go forward. If anything that you have to, I don't know, this answer is enough for you. If you want to clarify it again, you can ask something.
My understanding is like that you will not remember the Dhamma in the next life.
Sometimes it may be if we fall into a lower realm. But the very important thing, our energy may be useless. Our samadhi may be useless. but our panya is forever. Samadhi or concentration is like a flash light, sunlight or moonlight. Panya is like we write something. Even though light off, the letter you wrote remains. When you practice insight meditation, it comes to wisdom. That wisdom remains. As soon as you meet a 𝒮𝓾 ℒ𝒶𝓃𝓀𝒶, when he explains Dhamma, you can start from the place where you have practiced. Whenever Buddha meets you, Buddha doesn't look at you how much you have practiced concentration. Buddha directly look at you how much you have practiced insight meditation in your previous lives. It is like a letter, something you have written. It remains within you. But a blissful life is very useful. If you don't have a blissful life, even Buddha appears in this world, he can't help you. That is why for a blissful life, we should fulfill dana, sila and metta bhavana. Practicing generosity, practicing virtue, and also practicing metta bhavana is very useful when we receive a blissful life. Especially 5 precepts. If you have practiced 5 precepts, don't worry. Surely we can receive a blissful life, since we have no big mistake. Even though you will be born in a very poor place, poor country, poor house, doesn't matter. You are like a gem. Gem, no matter where it is, even though it is in a mud or in a trash or in a cupboard, no matter where it is valuable. You are also like that, because you have practiced your wisdom. If you have practiced your wisdom to the maximum level, as soon as a Buddha or Arahant who has psychic energy look at you, directly he looks at your wisdom. They explain the highest valuable thing in the Dhamma to you according to your wisdom. Especially Buddha has special psychic energies. That was only for the Buddha. Indriya paro pariyatti ඥාන. Buddha could read our spiritual faculties. Especially Buddha can read the faculty of our wisdom. That remains, that is helpful for our next practice. One day, a lay disciple named 𝒶𝓃𝒾, Mahanama 𝒶𝓃𝒾, he came to the Buddha. He says that, Venerable Sir, when I am with you, I am so pleased. I am very calm. But I go to palace. My work is very complex. I have to work a lot of people. Sometimes I have to punish some people. He is a prince. He asks that, Bhante, when I am in a trouble, if I die, what happens to my next birth? When I am quarreling with others, when I am in a bad situation, if I die, what happens to my next life? Mahanama 𝒶𝓃𝒾 asks. Then Buddha says, Mahanama, don't worry. You have practiced sila, saddha, sila, sutta, caga, panya, confidence, virtue, Dhamma understanding, and panya for a long time. Actually, he hadn't attained Sotapanna. That is why he asked that question. If he were in Sotapanna, he never asked that question, because he is very sure that he has a blissful life hereafter. He was confused that because he was not Sotapanna. Buddha says, Mahanama, don't worry, because you have practiced these qualities for a long time. No matter in which situation that you die, you will have a blissful life. Mahanama Sakya. Buddha gave an example. There is a river or lake. There is a tree. The tree is like in this way. River is here, the tree is like this. If a person cut the tree in anywhere, he cut the tree, where the tree falls? The tree falls to the river. Because it is like this. Buddha says, you are also like that. You are bending to the blissful life. No matter in which situation you die, you come to the blissful life. You receive a blissful life. That is why always we should be confirmed that. We should confirm that how much I have my Dhamma understanding, my saddha, confidence in the Dhamma, my virtue, my wisdom, my generosity. Saddha, sila, sutta, caga, panya. Saddha, confidence in the Dhamma. Sila, virtue. Sutta, Dhamma, understanding. And the caga, generosity. Don't forget generosity. Generosity also very important. And panya, wisdom. If you have practiced these qualities again and again, no matter, nowhere, whenever we die, we have a blissful life. Okay, thank you for asking your good questions. We really appreciate, encourage your questions. Okay, now we have to finish our Dhamma session. We really appreciate your participation and your attention. By the power of the spirituality that we accumulated through listening to Dhamma, discussing Dhamma, practicing Dhamma, may your all spiritual and educational goals meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain the bliss of liberation, Nibbana. Dukkham pantāca nindukkham, bhayam pantāca nibhayam, sokam pantāca nissokam, hontu sabbe pipanino. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings attain the supreme bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.